Alright, howdy. Welcome to this demonstration of the Argos Mark 1 radar set. It is finally done enough to be released. There are still some features missing, like identify friend or foe, and just some minor things. We have some targets laid out. We got a vehicle there, one doing some loops, and a hovering helicopter. This is how it'll look when you spawn the creation. The turret will be pointing straight, but this is how it will look. Let's go over the buttons. First, we have a fire button that's linked to this missile to demonstrate how this can direct a fire control system. Next, we have a simulate button for the RWR. I'm not going to press that right now, but it just allows you to see where the pings are located and what it'll do when a missile is incoming. Next we have the range preset change. We're not going to hit that just a second. And we have a silence RWR. That'll just turn these buzzers off and prevent any sort of noises or outputs from the RWR, so you're not getting irritated by constant beeps. So if we have a look at our display here, let me get rid of this waypoint. We have 0, so this is center. This is straight on from where the radar's looking. -80, so we're looking 80 degrees that way, just about where I'm looking right now, and 80 degrees that way. We have vertically 43 degrees of vertical allowance for the radar. So as you can see, we're detecting that helicopter over there, even though it's not completely aligned with the radar set. That's the 43 degrees of vertical. Next we have the mode we're in. At the moment we're just in a search mode, and then we have our range. So the first feature I'm going to show you, let's go to 3 kilometers. You press that, it takes a second to refresh, and all your targets are presented at 3-kilometer range. Next, we have this orange button here. We press that and we go to search plus filter. And as you can see, these tracks become a little bit more clear. If we show that again, we turn the filter off and you see multiple tracks appearing. That's because these have sub-assemblies on them. They're all equipped with missiles. You can use the sub-assembly feature here where it shows up as multiple tracks to identify larger vessels. Larger vessels often have sub-assemblies for either weapon systems or external ribs, winches, that sort of thing. If we turn that on though, it just averages the values, and you'll see them jumping around a little bit. That's just inherent in the radar. There is a smoothing filter that is doing some work there to try and smooth the location out of these targets so they don't jitter as much. But unfortunately in Stormworks the radars are not 100% accurate, and that's just the reality. So now that we have the filter on, you can see the tracks. Some of them show up as unfilled circles, and some of them show up as filled circles. Filled circles indicate that a target is, I believe, under a certain altitude. 25 meters I think is what I have it set at, and that shows you surface vessels and low-flying aircraft such as helicopters. Now, a problem inherent in the system here, if we see this track here, that one corresponds to that vehicle on the hill. Unfortunately, it would be extremely difficult to get GPS data to correct the altitude based on above ground level instead of above sea level. So this is referenced to above sea level. So if you detect a target on a mountain, like over there, it'll show up as a circle track without fill, and that's just another reality of how Stormworks works. Next, we can show you this other mode. If you simply, this is a touchscreen. If you simply click on it, we go to track while scan / select mode, and this is still purple to indicate you're in filtered mode. Next we get 2 things here. We have range of selected target and altitude of selected target. If the selected target is lost, it'll display the last known track. That's just to maintain this fire control system. So as you can see, these refresh occasionally, and we don't want this to lose track based on that. So it'll continue to output the last track that it saw. So if we go ahead and select a target, we see our turret moving. These values change. It also outputs them as normal values or composite. And so this is just a demo here. You can hook them up to pivots, and you can connect weapons to them. Let's go ahead and zoom in and I can show you how accurate that track is. We have a little bit of elevation issue here just because of how heavy that missile is. Normally it would be closer to the center. But you can see it's refreshing on that track, and if we go to a moving track, this is our helicopter here. The refresh rate is not great for tracking moving targets. I would not recommend hooking this into a gun-based fire control system, but directing a missile with a seeker head, this is more than enough usually for the missile to get its own lock. And as you can see, you simply just select targets and it'll slave this onto the target. It's pretty simple. To get out of the select mode, you simply click out of the box here. So anywhere in the box is a valid location and anywhere outside is not. This circle represents how anything in here, it'll select the strongest radar target that's there and it'll track that. Now unfortunately this it would be way too difficult to code into the buffer where these tracks are stored velocity data, so there's no velocity output. I don't foresee that ever coming as a feature to the Argos radar. It's simply impractical, unfortunately, with how many lines of code you're allowed in Stormworks. What the heck? Wait, a false... What are we looking at here? Strange. Let me pause my music here. Let's set the sounds. So if we go ahead and simulate the RWR, you can see their pings. And our buzzer works. And if we hold it, we start getting the missile inbound warnings. Now the way that works, it's pretty stupid. And that helicopter just crashed. That's pretty funny. It's pretty stupid in the way that it detects that a missile is inbound. Simply, it's looking for static radar sources. So when you have a static radar mounted on a missile, it's sending a constant on signal, a constant pulse out, and this to detect the missile simply looks for that constant radar signal. There are some search radars out there that use a constant signal like that, so that might falsify a missile alert. And it looks like we just got a plane somewhere. Where is he? Out of render distance, it looks like. Ooh, there he is. So that's one of those planes from the weapons DLC that we just picked up. So that's a perfect demonstration. This can easily be used as an air defense radar. Let's get through this demonstration before he starts strafing us. So if we go ahead and select a target out there, we can demonstrate how this will work as a fire direction radar. This is simply a ground target, and we have an ATGM strapped on, an anti-tank guided missile. Go ahead and fire. And we see that track data was enough for the missile seeker head to be on target, and we got a positive hit there. We gotta undo the fire command, and it lowers back down. And and that ATGM successfully hit. So, as this plane strafes me, that's basically the Argos Mark 1 radar set. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully you enjoy the radar. You can put any suggestions in the Steam comments. I will be looking at those. Yeah.